Got it. Apparently the Texas Capitol is flooding.
What?
Which, well, the cool thing about that is that right now, regardless of your political predilections, you can see the justice in that. I wrote this song with my friend Jackson Emmer. I don't need you to try and fix this, 'cause you can't. I trust in time you'll come to understand. If my heart had a window, you'd see the darkness and the stardust that made me. It's time to change the weather in my head. I'll fly above these storm clouds up ahead. No stranger to the lonely aches of time. Still these stubborn ripples in my mind. Patience is a virtue, but I wouldn't really know. Some days you float, some days you fall, some days you can't let go. It's not so much the bitter tears as the salt they leave behind. I'll be fine. The shadow follows every grain of sand. It crawls along with no design or plan. So stay with me a moment if you will. Sometimes love is simply sitting still. Yes, patience is a virtue, but I wouldn't really know. Some days you float, some days you fall, some days you can't let go. It's not so much the bitter tears as the salt they leave behind. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Fine. Thanks.
During the break, I got a birthday present. It was my birthday last month. And it's a Cubs hat, because I'm me. Kent and Donna know what I like. I'm a huge baseball fan, if you didn't know for some reason. Like the kind of baseball fan that gets to this time of year and there's a 75+% chance that whatever relationship I started, in January is now completely on the way out because baseball season is a really long season. What, Joanna? I love my baseball, and this year's been a little different because like they keep changing the rules, and I just don't like that. So I haven't been watching nearly as much baseball, but I've been to like 7 or 8 Round Rock Express games, and one of the pitchers for the Oklahoma City Dodgers, not like the actual LA Dodgers, just the Oklahoma City Dodgers, keeps sliding into my DMs and wanting to take me out, and I keep telling him no, and he keeps trying. And then he blocked me.
Oh, man.
But I've come to figure out that when you're talking to somebody and you're not giving them what they want exactly, and then they unfollow and or block you, that you probably really didn't need them in your life to begin with. And anyway, this song's for those people today. I stopped trying to find religion. There's no explaining a mystery. I count the 108 stitches on a ball instead of saying a rosary. Maybe we were lonely, nothing less and nothing more. You know this ain't the majors, there's no reason to keep score. Not explain the rules of baseball, but we both know you don't care. Add it to the list of all the things that we don't share. The days are getting shorter, the summer it's almost through. The most important rule of baseball, but there's no crying when you lose. Can't remember my last confession, but I know it's been too long. It's one thing not to love you, it's another to admit it's wrong. It all comes down to timing, swinging hard a little late. Throw gasoline on a fire, or maybe call it fate. Not explain the rules of baseball, but we both know you don't care. Add it to the list of all the things that we don't share. The days are getting shorter, the summer is almost through. The most important rule of baseball, there's no crying when you lose. Talk about it, let's go back to chasing dreams. The next time you see me at the plate, you'll have to take one for the team. But I believe in the Holy Spirit and the magic of a hanging curveball. Some things don't come easily, some things don't come at all. Not explain the rules of baseball, but we both know you don't care. Add it to the list of all the things that we don't share. The days are getting shorter, the summer it's almost through. The most important rule of baseball, well, there's no crying when you lose. Most important rule of baseball, well, there's no following people after you decided not to on the Instagram and now sending all of your messages because you can't handle being told no when you lose.
The Dodgers seem to have a lot of problems like that in their organization.
It's not even the real Dodgers. It's the Oklahoma City Dodgers. And he's not even like a high draft pick. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, like I screenshotted it when it happened and sent it to all my baseball friends that like follow other teams, minor leagues, much more closely than I do. And was like, do I want to respond to this? And they were like, no. So like I, responded a tiny bit and was like, hey, nice to meet you. See you, whatever you pitched tonight. It was fine. You guys won. Cool. Okay. And he was like, come get drinks. And I was like, I got a gig tomorrow. I can't. And he was like, tomorrow then. And like the next day in the morning, he was like, are you going to come to drinks tonight? And I'm like, no, I got a gig tonight still. Like I can't, I have a gig. And then the next morning it was, are you going to come get drinks tonight? No, still no. And then nothing, like I didn't hear from him for however many weeks it was until they came back. And then they came back and it was immediately like, hi. And I left him on red, and then he sent every message he sent. It was great.
That's crazy. Did so Oklahoma City is AAA Dodgers affiliate?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well. Oh man. So all right. Nicole, I love playing shows with you, and I love playing shows with a lot of different people. And I was playing a show at a very, very hallowed folk music venue last month. And I was playing with someone I also totally adore. And I'm not going to name the venue. I'm not going to name the person I adore. I believe it is saved in perpetuity on the internet, though, so that's great. But she was tuning up between songs. She was using an alternate tuning, which is dangerous. Like, you should
Very
probably
dangerous.
carry two guitars. Like, don't...
Well, it depends on alternate tuning. If it was just drop D, it's okay.
Well, it involved a lot
It's
of...
like open C.
A lot of things going down and a lot of things going up, and she was tuning, and she broke a string while she was tuning. And it was while I was playing one of my silly little tunes. And I looked over and I saw which string she had broken. And I said, I have an extra G string if you need to borrow it. And I knew it exactly, like, as it was coming out of my mouth, that it was just really not a good thing. I know a lot of things. I'm good at making decisions when presented with options, but I'm not a tremendously quick on my feet kind of person. So
I'm just going to let you hang here for
Yes.
a while. Finish your story, friend.
It was like rough, because like you can't, after you break the string, like you can't really laugh, like you're still super stressed. And she ended up playing the next song without that string and did a fairly darn good job of it. But the point is that if you throw variables at me mid-show, I'm probably going to fumble them.
What variable do you have right now?
Well, I'm going to play a song about the greatest short-track stock car racer in North American history.
All right, then.
Do you know this song?
Maybe.
The greatest short-track stock car racer in North American history is Dick Trickle, the pride of central Wisconsin. And his story is such that I tried to get a lot of people to talk me out of writing this, and they actually, rather than talking me out of writing it, they said, sorry, there's probably only one person on earth who can write this song, and it's you. So this is the Ballad of Dick Trickle. I decided to take it and really jump in with both feet. It's a 7-verse folk ballad with no chorus. People are confused by this song. They don't know whether to laugh or cry or what, and that means I've done my job. Well, Dick Trickle, he was from Wisconsin Rapids. He had 1,200 short-track racing wins. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. He tore up the whole Midwest, Dick Trickle did. Tore up the whole Midwest, Dick Trickle did. Dick Trickle, from the first time he saw racing, he knew he was put on earth to drive. He bought a 1950 Ford after saving up his money, put an engine in from 1949. He put an engine in from 1949. Dick Trickle, he had some racing stories, like that one time he blew a water pump. A fan drove down to the pits and gave him his to borrow. Well, Dick Trickle gave it back after he'd won. Dick Trickle gave it back after he'd won. Dick Trickle, he drank 40 cups of coffee. In his helmet, y'all, he had him drill a hole. Put a lighter in his race car when that yellow flag was waving. Well, he'd coast along and have himself a smoke. He'd coast along and have himself a smoke. Dick Trickle, yes, he'd get the call from NASCAR at 48 ripe old years of age. He won Rookie of the Year and race fans' adoration. Dick Trickle's so much more than just a name. Dick Trickle's so much more than just a name. Dick Trickle, he climbed out of the race car. The last time he was 61 years old. He went on a living. His chest, it was a hurtin'. What it was, y'all, the doctors didn't know. What it was, y'all, the doctors didn't know. Dick Trickle, he's in the lonesome graveyard. In his pickup truck, his hand on the gun. He called up the dispatcher, said there's gonna be a body. Well, Dick Trickle, he said, ma'am, I'm the one. Dick Trickle, he said, ma'am, I'm the one. Dick Trickle, he was from Wisconsin Rapids. He had 1,200 short track racing wins. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. He tore up the whole Midwest, Dick Trickle did. He tore up the whole Midwest, Dick Trickle did. Can you hear the engine revving? I hope they let Dick Trickle smoke up in heaven. Thank you. Sports.
Three more rounds. So, is there anything that I haven't played that anybody really wanted to hear? Because, you know, I didn't make a set list, so we have flexibility here. I just checking. Quick poll in the no, okay, cool. Then I'm just gonna play what I want to play. It's feel like to check. I would have listened to your input, but you'll never know. I got you, friend. Don't worry. It's not right now. I could play Fires of Pompeii, sure. Well, I just asked, and then it'd be real awkward if I was like, no.
That is a very, very special song. It really is, and I don't know if you realize how good that song is. I'm serious.
Well, thank you. It was the first one I wrote that I thought was like good enough to take out in front of people that weren't my dogs.
Well, that's right.
And then it all went downhill from there. So
No.
I don't know.
There's something really special about that first one that is like not just like, okay, I think I kind of have, but like, and that shines through in this one, but it doesn't sound like, it sounds like something that a really excellent writer would write mid-career.
Well, thank you, Terry Klein.
You know?
It's a mostly true story. I changed a couple details to protect the guilty. And mostly myself also, just to not I've gotten better about just admitting my own faults and the ridiculous things that happen. Previous baseball player story, but at this point in life, I had not been ready to point fingers just yet. Caught you looking at me from across that room, like the fires of Pompeii, yeah, began to burn. Your eyes met mine, they're the brightest of blue, so crystalline. And the next thing I knew, there's a million reasons this should work, unless we're buried in ashes. You're not him and I can't replace him. There's a likelihood we'll both get hurt. There's a likelihood we'll both get burned. We should walk away. We should walk away. You know the second verse? We were dancing in circles while the band played on, like two constellations. We're trying to outrun the sun. When we finally met and it all fell away, time stood still and I wanted to say that there's a million reasons this should work, unless we're buried in ashes. You're not him and I can't replace her. There's a likelihood we'll both get hurt. There's a likelihood we'll both get burned. We should walk away. We should walk away. Between shots of tequila and the stories we told of flirting with disaster, if one of us should fall. It's 2 a.m. Time to go home. Maybe it's for the best if we pretend that we never met. But there's a million reasons this should work, unless we're buried in ashes. You're not him and I can't replace her. There's a likelihood we'll both get hurt. There's a likelihood we'll both get burned. We should walk away. We should walk away. Should we walk away? Thank you. Probably not.
I remember it's the first time I heard you sing that song was on this stage in a very different time in like the world and our lives, and you sang a Casey Chambers song, and then you sang, and I was like, that was really good, and then you sang that song, and that was good, and I was like, that person is my friend.
That's how it works when you're songwriters. You just decide, show up a bunch of places, and then eventually, like, yeah.
You were wearing a Cubs shirt that night.
You have a much better memory than I do.
When the Cubs won the series in 16.
Yes.
It's so funny. And everybody was like, oh, everything is right in the world. It's the end of October of 2016, and the Cubs won the World Series. What could go wrong?
I mean, in other ways to look at that is that it kind of harbened the end of the world. I don't know. Like, maybe some curses need to stay cursed. And I would take that hit as a Cubs fan if it meant we could go back.
Speaking of the Dodgers, there's some people on that team who are now Los Angeles Dodgers. Sorry.
I thought we were friends.
Maybe they'll come back. That happens. They're at the end of their contract. So I think we're going to do two more. Well, no. What are we going to do?
Two more, and then you're going to do one, and then I'm going to do one, and you're going to do one.
Is that how it's going to work? Okay. That sounds good to me. I'm going to play the first good one that I think I wrote. Yeah. I stand on a battered limestone wall, trying to keep a grip on my nerves. I've been up here long as I can recall, forsaken by the masters I still serve. On my best days I remain unsure that I can be your watchman anymore. This cold wind is too bitter for me, cuts through my coat and straight into my bones. I stare out at the wild and angry sea and shift my weight atop these ancient stones. I'm weary of this unforgiving shore, and I can't be your watchman anymore. Gonna keep these torch fires burning and try to stay awake, but this outpost ain't my prison, and to die here ain't my fate. It was a just and worthy cause. But I have to say that I've had my fill. So I'm handing off these burdens I have borne, and I won't be your watchman. No, I won't be your watchman. No, I won't be your watchman, hey, 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 anymore. Thank you.
Terry, thanks for having me out here today on this stage. And thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. I was thinking, like, almost all of my really great memories of playing music involve you in some way or another. It's true.
Thank you.
Like that time we were sitting on the stage and it was you and me and Ben De La Cour and I think maybe Nick Nace. And I got a call and I answered like just a few seconds before we went on stage, and it was the cops coming to check on my dogs.
Oh.
You remember that?
I do remember that.
That was very stressful. That was a good show nonetheless. And then there was the time, we wrote Dynamite and we wrote Yellow Butterfly, and
Yeah.
I frequently just find that you're always kind of present. And also, like, just your entire family. Anyway, I could go on for a really long time, and I'm not going to because now I changed topics from what I was going to say in the first place. But one time we were sitting in his shed writing another song, or trying to write a song, I think. I think that was the night we wrote Imposters.
Okay.
Anyway, and we were talking about songs we loved and people we loved, and we came, obviously, one of my greatest influences and favorite people to listen to is Nancy Griffith. And so we were talking about Nancy and realizing that as much as I loved her, as much as we all love her, like in Texas, it tends to be that she gets overlooked for like the towns and all the other people. And we were talking about how much of a damn shame that is. And then we were like, well, we have guitars, we have voices, we could fix this problem. And so I emailed the now defunct Cactus Cafe and said, hey, if we put together this show, what would you guys say to having it there? And they were like, okay, cool. And so then I sent an email to a friend of mine that knew Nancy and said, hey, can you get Nancy's blessing on this before we go? Because we don't want to just like make it a thing all about us. And they asked Nancy, and Nancy said, sure, go for it. And we said, cool. And then we asked, like, hey, so if we raised a bunch of money, where would you want that money to go? And they got back to me, and they said that Nancy said Habitat for Humanity. So we put together a big old show at the Cactus and raised a bunch of money for Habitat for Humanity. And I'm sure everybody here knows that we lost her this week. She was one of my first musical loves and one of my first discoveries that I made on my own, not from my parents' record collection. And this song wasn't the one that got me. The one that got me was listening to the radio. She played it at a festival, Jackson Browne, and I was like, this woman over here is singing songs about Loretta Lynn, and she's wearing political buttons, and she's telling friends, don't let friends vote Republican, and I'm here for it. I'm all here for it. This isn't that song, but it's one of my favorites, and you know it, singing. Rita was 16 years, hazel eyes, chestnut hair. She made the Woolworth counter shine. Eddie was a sweet romancer and a darn good dancer. They'd waltz the house of the five and dime. And they'd sing, dance a little closer to me, dance a little closer now, dance a little closer tonight, dance a little closer to me. Hey, it's closing time and love's on sale tonight at the five and dime. Eddie played the steel guitar and his mama cried 'cause he played in bars, kept young Rita out late at night. So they married up in Abilene, lost a child in Tennessee, but still somehow survived. And they'd sing, dance a little closer to me, dance a little closer now, dance a little closer tonight, dance a little closer to me. Hey, it's closing time and love's on sale tonight at the five and dime. One of the boys from Eddie's band took a shine to Rita's hand. Eddie ran off with the bassman's wife. Oh, but he was back by June, singing a different tune, sporting Miss Rita back by his side. And they'd sing, dance a little closer to me, dance a little closer now, dance a little closer tonight, dance five and dime. Eddie traveled with the ballroom band till arthritis took his hands. Now he sells insurance on the side. Rita's got a house to keep, dime store novels and love so sweet. They dance to the radio late at night, and they'd sing, dance a little closer to me, dance a little closer now, dance a little closer tonight, dance a little closer to me. Hey, it's closing time and love's on sale tonight at the five and dime. Rita was 16 years, hazel eyes, chestnut hair. She made the Woolworth kind of shine. Nancy Griffith, y'all.
Well, I think we're going to do one more round, and then we're going to call it quits, right? Is that the idea?
No, we're going to call it quits after you sing this song.
Oh, we're going to do one more, and then that's it? All right. Well, so the Nancy Griffith, I mean, what's amazing to me about her, and I was talking to Nicole about this, is she, let me see, right about the time she turned 50, I feel like, she just became flawless. Just like utterly perfect. Like I picture, there's an author I love named Edith Wharton, who wrote at the same time as Hemingway and Fitzgerald and doesn't kind of get the credit that they do. But I always picture Edith Wharton literally dancing around them while they sat at whatever table they were sitting at, agonizing about whatever they were agonizing about. And, you know, you were talking about Towns and Guy and all these other folks. And I think that they probably would have recognized that she was dancing around them. But she didn't get the credit that she deserved. And right around the time she turned 50, though, I feel like she just like became the total master of her domain. Like, seek out videos of her from like the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Watch them, because you will see an artist just totally in control of her abilities and not caring. Part of it, I think, as I do this more and more, part of it's letting go. And so I spent a bunch of Friday just watching videos of her play songs like that, you know, like 25 years after she wrote it, with the benefit of all the life that she had gotten to live. And she told this great story about that song, about how she wrote it she was like doing a songwriting workshop at a folk festival, and all of the other like main writers were told, you need to write a song, you need to write a song the night before you come, or something.
Like a time limit.
Yes.
We know people who were other in that thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
And that just seems like the most horrifying thing to ever have to, like, you come with your songs and Nancy plays that and you're like, well, anyway.
But so it was like a workshop, and they said, you need to write this song like that day or something like that. You need to come and do that. And so she had written a short story about those folks. And she wrote that song, and everybody else just played songs they'd written like 5 years earlier. And what she said was, That song bought me a pool. None of the rest of y'all have pools. I don't know if this is an uplifting note or a down pushing note, but we're going to finish with Sagamore Bridge.
Here we are.
Well, they took out the circle, but the traffic's no better. $60 million just pissed away. You sit for an hour, the baby fills her diaper, but that Huggy ain't leaking, so I guess we're okay. And at Ferretti's in Brewster, roast beef and salami, sliced to perfection, that IBP meat. Folks stand there waiting in tunics and tivas, a little hungover, maybe 1/3 asleep. On a thin strip of sand out in the Atlantic, you can sin like the Kennedys did. The Provincetown salt boxes shimmer in sunlight. There's a suicide fence on the Sagamore Bridge. There's a suicide fence on the Sagamore Bridge. Yeah, that bar band in Wellfleet, they do hits from the 90s at the Beachcomber Pub on Saturday nights. It's like an ad for Viagra. They play Bush and Nirvana, hit on the barflies and get lucky sometimes. And the rich folks from Chatham, well, they don't like poor folks. Say affordable housing, it won't happen here. And in their black E350s, when they've had 4 too many, they speed on the back roads and T-bone the deer. On a thin strip of sand out in the Atlantic, you can sin like the Kennedys did. The Provincetown salt boxes shimmer in sunlight. There's a suicide fence on the Sagamore Bridge. There's a suicide fence on the Sagamore Bridge. Yeah, the girls in from Russia live in single wide trailers in Yarmouth and Dennis on summer J1s. They make $4 an hour serving crab cakes at parties and repel the advances of husbands and sons. And on Labor Day weekend, locals stand on the bridges waving goodbye to folks on Route 6. Then they head back to their houses feeling smug satisfaction, mix Coke and Evan Williams, and scream at their kids. On a thin strip of sand out in the Atlantic, you can sin like the Kennedys did. The Provincetown salt boxes shimmer in sunlight. There's a suicide fence on the Sagamore Bridge. There's a suicide fence on the Sagamore Bridge. There's a suicide fence on the Sagamore Bridge. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Next month, it's going to be Libby Coke. Libby Coke next month. And I hope that things are better. That's just generally true. I just hope things are better. But really next